Star Wars, the expanded universe. A universe so vast that has over 17,000 characters from various different eras, from Dawn of the Jedi to the Old Republic, to the prequels all the way to the Legacy era. This is the tale of over 17,000 characters throughout the Star Wars universe. This is our first step to a much larger world that exists in the Star Wars universe. This is the story beyond the movies. This is the story of the Star Wars expanded universe. A universe loved by many. A universe that helped shape what this franchise is today. This is their story.
Hello everyone, this is Darth Bane here. This is my review of Darth Bane, Rule of Two, which is the second book of the Darth Bane trilogy. This takes place immediately after the last books left off, so if you have not read Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, do not read this. Believe it or not, if you wouldn't know this, but this book was rushed, honestly. A sequel for Path of Destruction wasn't planned originally, but Drew Carkinson, was approached to write a sequel for this. So he did, and it was under a tight schedule, but he completed it on time. And actually, if you read it, you wouldn't know that it's rushed. It's a really good book. It just goes to show you that just because an author, has to meet a tight deadline doesn't mean they can't write a good book. It just depends on the writer. I'm looking at you, Chuck Wendig. But anyway, let's get back on topic. Anyway, this book essentially does not focus as much on Bane as it more focus on his apprentice, Darth Sana, which makes sense considering she's going to be his successor and is the first along many Sith that would be under Darth Bane's line of succession, which it starts with Zana and ends with, in a way, with Darth, Tenebris, in a way, the Rule of Two. But I'll get to that when I talk about the Sith. Anyway, a lot of stuff that came to fruition in the prequel trilogy, it was possible because of this, Darth Bane, Path of Destruction. A lot of the stuff regarding the Rule of Two, at least until the new canon reveals those answers, which is not likely going to do that. Rule of Two is probably the closest thing you're going to get to an actual answer about why there's only two Sith. And it's quite simple. If you read the last book, you would know why there only two Sith can exist at a time. But in this, you actually learn some more about some of the Sith. You also learn how holocrons were created. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because anyone. In this book, also, this goes through an arc. Zana goes through, which is something that Bane went through himself, but in a different way. That Sana doesn't truly become a Sith until the very end of this book. And the ending for this book is quite dark, actually. Honestly. When, of course, then again, there's some moments I love. Like one of my favorite lightsaber duels in the Star Wars expanded universe was depicted here. Honestly, between Bane, Zana, and along with Fafala, and whoever was left of the Army of Light. It was just such a brutal duel. It's like, wow, it was intense. Holy shit, was that amazing to read. If you have the imagination that I do, you can just imagine just how epic that lightsaber duel was. So, yeah, I can honestly say that this, book has one of the best lightsaber duels, I've read in the expanded universe. And also one thing I really loved was Zana's character arc in here, especially towards the end of this book, because her cousin, you know Davrit, who in his childhood was known as Tomcat. He's like one of the last obstacles that she has to overcome in order to become a true Sith. And of course, you probably know from the get go that a character that's connected to Bane or Zana somehow is going to die. No spoilers. I'm sorry, but if you've read enough Star Wars Expanded Universe book, especially ones that focus primarily on the villains, you would understand that that character is fucked. Anyway, it is it was this is a very good read. It really was. Obviously, I didn't have time to read it, so I had to listen to the audiobook, but my god, the audiobook was amazing of this book. Same thing with Path of Destruction. Honestly, I would listen to this on audiobook or read it. Of course, I would do both. Darth Bane Path of Destruction is such a good book that I can't recommend it enough. Even though I think it's inferior to not Rule of Two, Darth Bane Path of Destruction, I still think it's a great book regardless. Due to the fact that it does a lot to actually expand upon on the existing lore that was established in Darth Bane Path of Destruction, which was first established in the prequel trilogy. This did a lot to enrich the Star Wars universe. And I don't think I could imagine the Star Wars universe without this. Darth Bane Path of Destruction gets a classic rating because I do think it's a great book. Rule of Two, I think I meant. So, shit, that was a stupid mistake. Whatever. Rule of Two, I give it a classic rating. I really do. Because I think it's a good book. I do consider it a classic. Just like its predecessor. Great. Now, next time we talk about this series, we will get to Dynasty of Evil, the end of this saga of Sith Lords. May the Force be with you, everyone, and see you guys next time.